What's up guys, Ame here with the next video in the Naxxramas boss guide. In this one, we're continuing our journey into the military quarter and taking on Gothik the Harvester. Let's get into it. Gothik's room is split in half, with the gate separating each side, with Gothik himself up on a balcony and not targetable. The left side is known as the living side, and the right side is known as the dead side. For the majority of this fight, mobs will be spawning on the living side of the room. Once killed, the undead version of those mobs will then spawn on the dead side. The live side will consist of 3 tanks, the ranged DPS, and priests. This is because these mobs can be crowd controlled with Shackle Undead, Polymorph, Frost Nova, Frost Trap, you name it, they can be crowd controlled. So if the mobs start to overrun the living side, bust out that crowd control. The dead side will consist of the melee and non-priest healers. This is because many of the mobs will need to be stun locked or have spells interrupted. 3 types of mobs will spawn on the living side. Unrelenting trainees have 2 abilities, Eagle Claw and Knockdown. Eagle Claw just does single target damage, and Knockdown, well, knocks you down, stunning you for 2 seconds. These guys are pretty weak and you won't really have to worry about them. Unrelenting Death Knights use Intercept and Shadow Mark. Intercept will charge a raid member, stunning them for 3 seconds, and Shadow Mark is kind of like a whirlwind, hitting players in an 8-yard radius and applying the mark, making them susceptible to the Rider's Shadow Bolt volley ability. Unrelenting Riders are the most dangerous mobs on this side, and will use Unholy Aura and Shadow Bolt volley. Unholy Aura does passive AoE damage around the Rider, and the volley shoots Shadow Bolts out into the raid. The kill priority for the live side is the Unrelenting Riders first, followed by the Death Knights, and then the trainees. Now on the dead side, 4 types of mobs will spawn. Whenever an unrelenting trainee is killed on the living side, a spectral trainee will spawn on the dead side. Spectral trainees will use an arcane explosion, which can deal a lot of damage to the raid. These guys don't have a lot of health and can be stunned, so stun lock them and burn them down. When an unrelenting Death Knight goes down, a spectral Death Knight on the dead side will spawn. These guys have 4 abilities that can do a lot of AoE damage to those in melee range. They have a Whirlwind, Cleave, Sunder Armor, and Mana Burn. Because of these abilities, they need to be tanked away from the raid and stun locked for as long as possible. When an unrelenting rider is killed on the live side, both a spectral rider and spectral horse will spawn on the dead side. The riders will carry over that unholy aura that does passive AoE damage around them, and they will have a life drain, which will be cast on the target with the highest threat. Life drain is interruptible, so kick and pummel are huge here. The spectral horses are the weak mob on the dead side, only having a stomp ability that slows and does damage. Now the kill order for the dead side is the spectral trainees, followed by the spectral riders, followed by the spectral death knights, with the spectral horses going down last. Gothik himself only has 2 abilities. He will periodically send a shadow bolt to a random player, doing significant shadow damage, and he will put Harvest Soul on the whole raid, reducing total health and mana by 10%. He will only use these abilities when he's on the ground floor of his room. Now that we know the abilities, let's walk through the fight. The raid will split up onto their sides, 3 tanks, the ranged DPS, and priest healers on the left side, and the melee and non-priest healers on the right side. The dead side will need more healing, so if for some reason you don't have a lot of non-priest healers, send some over to help out. The 3 tanks on the living side need to be ready to pick up the mobs when they spawn. Once killed, their dead counterpart will spawn on the dead side of the room. The living side needs to make sure that they aren't killing the mobs too fast, as to not overrun the raid on the dead side. Communication is key here, so if the dead side needs a breather, keep those mobs crowd controlled with shackles and polymorphs so that they can catch up. On the dead side, make sure that the mobs are being stun locked and interrupted when needed. After 4.5 minutes of this dance between the live side and the dead side, Gothik will teleport down to the living side from his balcony. He will stay there for 15 seconds before teleporting to the dead side and continue jumping back and forth every 15 seconds. Once he gets down to 30% health, the middle gate will open up and the raid can finally join back together and DPS the boss down. And that's about it. Rinse and repeat till the boss is dead. There you have it guys, Gothik the Harvester is no more. If you like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and check out my other videos to support the channel. I'm also live on Twitch every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Catch the link below and come hang out. That's it for me today guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.